Alright guys, so back to the notebook. We were talking about midpoint today. This one is labeled 1.2 distance and midpoint. This one's actually going to last a couple of days. We're going to, not days, I mean like a couple, it's more than 2 pages. We're going to start on page 10. It'll probably go 11, 12, 13, but we're not going to number that yet. So, that being said, we're just going to do the midpoint part today, but we're going to label it 1.2 distance and midpoint. So go ahead and skip to page 10. Page 10. 1.2 distance and midpoint, and we're going to label 10 and 11 that. We will use 10 and 11 today, but we will make it all the way to 12 and 13 probably with this one. We will end up working on this tomorrow as well as Monday. Sometimes that happens. We also normally take a quiz every Friday, but we're not doing that this Friday, so just to let you know. Yes, even since you're going to be at home on Fridays, you're still going to take a quiz on Friday. You'll make it. It'll be all right. Distance and midpoint. All right. All right, you have or should have grabbed this foldable or this piece of paper. It's more of a piece of paper, not a foldable. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. And the only reason I'm folding in half is because I want to make sure I cut it in half. So I'm going to cut it in half today because I'm not actually, I want midpoint to be open and on the same page, okay? And then we'll glue them in as we get to them. We need a straight edge today, but not for constructions, for midpoint. Okay, so we're going to talk about midpoint. One way that you guys need to think about midpoint is literally the average of 2 coordinates, okay? So midpoint on a number line is what we're going to talk about first. You don't even need to memorize this if you understand that it is the average of 2 coordinates. So the coordinate of a midpoint is the average of the coordinates of the endpoints. So, and this is example 3 because they do distance and then midpoint where I got this from, but we're going to start with midpoint. So, example for 3. Find the midpoint between A and D, sorry. So here's A. A is at -8, and D is at 0. So between -8 and 0, I can either do -8 plus 0 divided by 2, -4 divided by 2, -2. Okay, the midpoint is, y'all, I can't add. Always make sure you check me because sometimes I forget how to add evidently. -8. -8 divided by 2 is -4. Okay, there's the midpoint M. Now, the reason I realized this was wrong is you also can use common sense to think about where is the midpoint on a number line anyway. So, from 0 to 8, whether it's positive or negative, halfway is 4. So that's how I could have done it common sense-wise. Now, let's talk about it on a coordinate plane. The coordinate of the midpoint between x1 and y1, it does not matter which one is x1 and which one is y1, as long as they are the same coordinate, and x2, y2 is the average of the x coordinates, and the average of the y coordinates. The formula is given here. At the end of the year, on a test, you are not given almost any formula that even matters to you, which means you have to have these formulas memorized. I will not give them to you on any test we have, whether online or in person. So make sure you understand that that's not going to happen. Okay, example 4. QS has endpoints here, 3, 5, and 7, -9. Find the coordinates of its midpoint. They've given us a graph. We can find it using a graph, or we can use the formula. I'm going to use the formula first. x1, y1, x2, y2. So it says 3 plus 7 over 2, comma. Some of you forget commas. If you forget commas in the assignment, you will miss it. Don't forget parenthesis, number, comma, number, parenthesis, okay? x2, no, sorry, y1 is 5 plus negative 9 over 2. 3 plus 7 is 10 over 2. 5 plus negative 9 is negative 4 over 2, which is 5 comma negative 2. I have a graph and can graph it, but if I don't need to, I don't have to. On example 5, I'm actually going to show you how we could use a graph instead of using the formula. And you get to choose. I'll always let you use either the formula or the graph if it's possible to use the graph, okay? So let's try using the graph on example 5. Of course, why don't you go ahead and try the formula on example 5, and then you can make sure that this way works. Okay, so to do this, we are going to graph C, negative 2, and then 12. There's C. And D is at 10, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. There's D. I'm going to draw this with my straight edge. It's still a straight edge because I'm not measuring. All right, here's how you can do this with a coordinate graph. I can actually count slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Probably not the best one to do it with because that's a lot, but that's okay. Negative 16 is the rise. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 is the run. To find the midpoint, I'm just going to half that. Instead of going down 16, I'm going to go down 8. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, if you're like me, look that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I'm either have graphed something wrong. It should be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, see, I only went down 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it still did not work out right. So make sure you have graphed and counted right for that to work. So we're going to recount just to check. This one is a little large to do this with. We probably should have done it with a smaller one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have counted it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the correct point. So I didn't count it right the other time. So let's write that down, but we're going to check because as we've seen, we've made some mistakes, me, not you, doing that. So the point should be at 4, 4. And we're just going to check by using some basic math skills here. Negative 2 plus 10 over 2, comma, 12 plus negative 4 over 2. That is positive 8 over 2 and 8 over 2, which gives us 4, 4. So it did work, but like I said, you have to make sure you count it right. Some of them are easier to count if you don't have all the way up to 12. All right, we are going to, in a minute, glue this one onto page 10. So this is going on page 10, but I'm going to set it to the side for now, okay? Now we need to use the midpoint formula to find the missing end point. Okay, so we have the midpoint, we have one end point, but we need to find the other one. So they give us some steps here. Step 1, plug in everything given. Let the coordinates of B be x2, y2. We have no idea what they are. So the formula, if you remember, is that the midpoint, which is 3, 4, equals x1, and we're using a as x1, over 2. We don't know what b is, so this is b. And y, negative 2 plus y over 2. We have no idea what b is, so there x and y are b. Step 2. Set the x-coordinate on the left equal to the x-coordinate on the right, meaning 3 equals negative 3 plus x over 2. And for the y-coordinate, 4 equals negative 2 plus y over 2. Step 3. Solve using algebra. Okay. That means to do that up here, we would multiply by 2. So we would have 6 equals negative 3 plus x. Add 3. X equals 9. Okay, times 2. 8 equals negative 2 plus y. Add 2. Y equals 10. So B is 9, 10. I could graph and make sure. I could do what I did with the slope a minute ago. If I had 8 and 4, I would count back up 8 and 4 to find the other endpoint. I'll show you what I mean by that on this example. So example 7. Work it with algebra first. Then I'm going to show you this way that you could use a graph instead. So the coordinate of x is 2, negative 3. There's x. The midpoint is 4, negative 6. And y is down here somewhere. So I'm going to use algebra, the graph. The slope, I go down 1, 2, 3. Here's what I meant by it would have been easier earlier if we had a smaller like segment or slope. Go down 3 over 2. Well, to find y, I would repeat it. Go down 1, 2, 3 over 2, and there's where y should be. Y should be at 6, negative 9. If that's what you found in the algebra, great. I'm going to do the algebra too, just to check. So 4, negative 6 equals 2 plus x over 2 and negative 3 plus y over 2. So we set two formulas. 4 equals, make sure you can see that. You can't see the whole thing on that bottom there. 4 equals 2 plus x over 2. And negative 6 equals negative 3 plus y over 2. Multiply by 2. 8 equals 2 plus x. Subtract 2. X equals 6. Good. So y, find the other one. Multiply by 2. Negative 12 equals negative 3 plus y. Add 3. And y equals negative 9, which is what we found over here. So you choose the method. I don't care which method you use at all. I don't care. All right, you are going to work some midpoint problems out. Make sure you put parentheses and commas if the computer does not give them for you, or you're going to miss the problem. Here is, this one goes on page 10. Don't forget that your problem set is due on Friday, which means you need to be turning that in. Do not email it to me. Do not share it with me. I don't need it anywhere but on Google Classroom, okay? So add whatever it is. If it's a picture, press add the attachment, put it on there, whatever you need to do to get it to me on Google Classroom, not through email. That would be a lot of emails. There are about, I've got 100 and something students. I don't need 100 and something emails. So don't email it to me. Put it in Google Classroom. There you go. There's your distance and midpoint. Tomorrow we're working on a review lesson. Like I said, normally we take a quiz, but we're not taking a quiz tomorrow. We need to talk about a review lesson before we can start what we need to start on Monday. We will quiz next week. Yes, even distance learning, like everybody's distance learning next Friday, you will be taking a quiz. Okay? See you tomorrow.